Good evening and welcome to Views with Joyce Waddell. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. We have an interesting program for you. We're going to be talking with Tina Brandon. She's a dancer, and we've titled this show The Joys of Dancing because she has a lot of fun when she dances, and it's something that she has a passion for. She loves what she does, and she puts a lot of time and energy into making it the very best that it could be. She's going to dance for us today, and she's going to talk about her favorite poet, the person who she admires most, who writes a lot about what she dances to. Welcome, Tania.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, you're a senior this year?
I'm a junior this year.
At what school?
Butler High School.
And where is that?
It's located in Vwjw, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And so you have a lot of fun dancing, don't you?
Yes, I've been dancing for about 4 years now, and I attend Precision Dance Center.
Oh, so you have a dance teacher?
Yes.
You've been dancing at the dance school for 4 years?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get interested in dancing?
Well, when I was younger, I always liked to make up dances at home, dancing to different CDs that I had, and just making up things and showing them to my mom and my dad. And it's always just been a passion and a joy of mine. And I actually started going to dance school when I was about 5. And it's just been a passion of mine since then.
So you've been at a lot of dance competitions and recitals?
Yes, I've been doing competition for about 2 years now, and we compete everywhere. We recently just got back from a dance competition in Nassau, Bahamas, and that was very fun.
So you were gone for a whole week in Nassau, Bahamas?
Yes.
And so how'd you do in that competition?
We got 4th and 5th place. It was national, so that was really good for us. We were happy to be able to make it into the finals, and placing was even better.
Now, what do you intend to do with your dance as you continue to progress doing dancing?
Well, I hopefully want to pursue dance even while in college, hopefully being on the dance team at whichever college I choose to go to, and it will just be, it will always continue in my life however I'm using it.
Now, you dance with a dance team, but do you compete just as an individual competitions too?
No, I'm soon, maybe. Right now I don't. I dance with the group, my team, at Precision Dance Center where I am now, but I haven't competed solo yet.
Well, it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of time and energy you have to put into it to be very perfect in what you do.
Yes, I go to my school about 4 times a week. Usually to practice with my team, and I help too. I help out with the younger kids that go to my dance school, and help with my teacher sometimes whenever she needs help.
And so but you're not going to major in dance when you go to college. What are you going to major in?
I'm going to major in business management. Hopefully when I get older I can own a studio of my own and teach kids and become a teacher.
Now, as you matriculate at Butler, are you doing cheerleading? Are you doing dance there? Are you doing anything that's connected with it?
I've cheered at Butler the past 2 years that I've been there, and it was very fun. I always enjoyed cheering with the girls at Butler, but unfortunately they don't have a dance team, so cheering was as close as I could get.
And you're still cheering?
No, not right now.
Cheer requires a lot of time, a lot of practice, and a lot of energy, and also a lot of travel, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. We practice every day after school when I cheered.
And you travel to the various games during the week almost once a week, don't you?
Yes, even twice a week sometimes. We travel to different schools, and maybe sometimes there'll be a home game every now and then, but it definitely is a lot of traveling.
So, audience, we're going to be entertained by the dance that she's going to be doing. And we know that it takes a lot of time when young people engage in dance and almost anything that they do. It's almost like preparing for a sport, because you have to put a lot of time, a lot of energy, and you have to be very good at it. So you have to enjoy what you're doing. And so that's why we've called this program The Joys of Dancing. And Tania is going to do a dance that she loves to do, one that she's been rehearsing for a long time, and she's going to do that for us.
man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and given the best place wherever. Nobody helps me into carriages, nor over the muddy patches, or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could best me ever. Ain't I a woman? I could work as hard and eat as much as a man when I could find it, and take the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most of them sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, no one but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so I rise.
That was a very interesting dance that she did, and that's Maya Angelou, one of the most famous poets that you hear speaking. And she really tells it just like it is when she talks about I rise, because she talks about almost a life of slavery and how, regardless of all the obstacles that she had to face, and when she says I rise, she's really talking about humanity, a people, a struggle, and how we all rise through the circumstances that we're faced with. But as we think about the times in which she lives and her forefathers, and how she explains what rising means, it doesn't matter what you have to endure, that as a people we are strong people, and as a group we are strong, and we support each other. It's about being perseverance, sticking to it and knowing that there's going to be a better day and a better life. And sometimes when the obstacles face individuals, they let it be known that regardless, success will come in the end. And sometimes there are triumphs, there are trials, there are things that really test patience and test understanding and test a person's soul and make them want to give up. And that's what she talks about when she talks about I rise. And people sometimes who are against the truth want to see things not to prosper. And they want to continue to beat an individual down. But as the person continues to move forward, they will rise. And when she talks about out of the darkness, she reminds us that you have to have darkness in order for there to be light. And sometimes you have to have sorrow in order for us to know what peace is. And so as we go through all of these struggles and all of these triumphs, we always know that there's a better day. Just like sometimes there's rain, there's thunder, and we know that after that there's going to be light and there's going to be brightness. So it takes a strong person to know that you have to be still, that you have to wait, because out of one thing, something else better will always happen. And sometimes it's very difficult to judge the past and the hardships unless you know that there's a better day. And when you see the brightness in the better day, then you can appreciate the hardships and what you had to endure to make that day much better. And it happens not only in the poem I Rise. It's a poem that's symbolic of life. It's a poem that's symbolic of struggle. It's a poem that gives you faith and hope for another day, because you know, just like the poet Maya Angelou states, I rise. It's a poem that lets people know that you have inner strength, you have inner ability, and that because of your faith and your belief in a higher power, in your own wisdom, and of a better life, that you will rise. And so she ends that poem with I rise, as she talks about the struggles, the triumphs, and out of the darkness. Maya Angelou wrote many, many poems, and she wrote the inaugural poem when Clinton was inaugurated. And she talked then about mourning, one that she wrote especially for that occasion. And when she talked about mourning, she talked about the difference that it made. So she's one of the stronger poets. And now we have Tia. She's going to come back to us, and this time she's going to sing a song. And tell us what you're going to sing.
I will be singing a song called I Surrender.
Okay.
Okay. How could someone like you love someone like me, full of mistakes and insecurity? When you look in my heart, tell me, what do you see that makes you love me so? Is it the nails that pierced in your side, or the moment you dropped your head and you died for a sinner like me? You gave up your life. It's time to let you know that, Lord, I surrender. I give you all I have, and it's not much, but I hear you calling. So here I am, standing in your grace.
That was a beautiful song. She's a very talented young lady. Not only does she sing, she dances, and she does it all. And that's a talent that can follow you a long ways in many things that you do. So did you take singing lessons too?
Yes, I have been singing for about 8 years in the Charlotte Children's Choir, and we travel everywhere too. I will be taking a trip to Italy next year with my choir, and I'm very excited about that. I enjoy singing, so I'm a well-rounded arts person with everything, with dance and singing.
Well, that's interesting that you're a well-rounded arts person, but you're going to major in business.
Yes, but when I do major in business, I plan to own a business that has to do with the arts. So whether I'm teaching little kids how to sing or teaching little kids how to dance, I plan to do well in the arts, but also be well in business too.
Well, it keeps you have a very busy schedule, a very busy life for such a young person already. Between homework and things you do in school, your extracurricular things you do dance and you're doing singing. Now, do you sing in the choir at school?
Yes, I do. My teacher is Lorna Graves, and she does an excellent job with us. We go to a festival every year to get rated, and we have 3 judges that rate our choirs there, and we got an excellent rating last year that our teacher was very proud of.
So, do you enter individual competitions for singing too, like talent shows or community competitions like recreation center, things like that?
Not usually, because the choir, the Charlotte Children's Choir, keeps me so busy. So I usually don't do solo competitions, but I love singing for whoever asks me to sing whenever they ask me to sing.
Now, what is the Charlotte Children's Choir?
The Charlotte Children's Choir is a citywide chorus that takes children from ages 8 to about the 12th grade, so 8 to about 18, and they train your voice, and you work with all different types of composers and musicians, and they pretty much just train you to learn how to sing correctly and using your diaphragm and things like that. It's a very good program.
Do you have to pay to be in that?
Yes, you do, but they do offer scholarships. If you have trouble paying for it, they do offer scholarships, and it's a very good opportunity.
Yeah, so that keeps you very, very busy. Did you audition to be in the Charlotte Children's Choir?
Yes, I auditioned when I was 8, and I was very happy to make it.
So you started a young age, and do you age out of it at some point and when you have to go to the adult choir?
You age out at about 18, like I said, but they encourage you to continue your singing career and sing in college as you move on from, if you move out of Charlotte or wherever you go.
Now, is that a large choir? Does it have a lot of people in it? They take a lot of individual time with you.
Yes, it is a very large choir. Each step from descant, which is the youngest choir, they have about 50 kids for that, and up to the youth chorale that I'm in, it's about 45 of us. So we range through about 400 kids with each choir.
Oh, that's very large. And you practice that every week or once a week or twice a week?
Once a week for about 2 hours.
And then they take you and give you individual lessons like that and help you with your diaphragm, your breathing?
You can ask for individual lessons. I've only taken them maybe once or twice here and there if I really, really need it.
Now, do you sing in your church choir or other choirs too, other opportunities to showcase your voice?
Yes, I do sing in my church choir, and I love it. It's a great experience just to be not only singing with people that are my friends, but also singing for God.
Audience, we'll continue to talk with Tia Brandon as we talk about the joys of dancing. She's a dancer and she's also a singer. So she brings a lot of talent to an audience. She's danced for us and she sang for us. And she's sharing with us some of the things that makes for a well-rounded individual in the arts. That you can dance, that you can sing, and that one of the things that you have to strongly believe in is practice. You have to rehearse, don't you?
Yes, I practice all the time. Even my mom has me come in and just sit down and say, sing for me just for a little bit. So I practice all the time. My dance teacher has taught me dedication, determination, and discipline. And that's what I make sure that I live up to every day. So yes, I practice all the time.
And you've been doing this ever since she was 8 years old? You've been doing the dance and the singing ever since 8?
Yes, I started dance when I was 5, and then I started singing in the Charlotte Children's Choir when I was about 8, so it's been a lifelong.
Now, do you drive a car? That's a lot of going back and forth, isn't it?
Yes, my mom is very dedicated to taking me where I need to go, and I thank her a lot for that.
Do you drive?
I have just started driving. I just got my permit in April, so I have to drive with her right now, but soon I'll have my license and I'll drive myself.
And you can drive yourself because that requires a lot of time. Or do you carpool with someone?
Yes, sometimes I do. There are a few people who live near me, and we call each other and carpool most of the time.
Mm-hmm. That saves your mom a lot of time without having to take you everywhere every time, when you can buddy up with another person, someone who's going the same place, doing the same thing that you're doing.
Yes, it saves her a lot of stress too.
So if you had to give advice to some young people who wanted to do what you were doing, what would you say to them?
I would give them the same advice that my dance teacher gives me. Stay dedicated, stay determined, and be self-disciplined, because it helps. It really helps. Practice, 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 because practice makes perfect.
And so that same discipline carries on to any other thing that you do in your schoolwork and doing your homework, the self-discipline. Do you see it as a part of other things in your life?
Yes, I do. With everything. It could be with anything that you want to accomplish. Like you said, my schoolwork, I have to stay on my schoolwork. My parents make me stay on it, and I have to stay on it with myself too. And yes, so it pretty much goes for everything.
And so now you start looking at colleges, a college that you want to go to, haven't you?
Yes.
And we have a lot of colleges. We have a lot of them around here in this Metro Atlanta area, senior colleges. In Charlotte, you have a college, and right outside of Charlotte, there are different colleges. So have you started looking seriously at one of them?
Well, I haven't started looking at in-state colleges yet, but I have looked at out-of-state colleges, and I really liked Morgan. I don't know if anybody's a big fan of Morgan, but that was a really nice college that I liked. But I'm starting to look in-state, and I think I'm gonna start looking into Winston-Salem. It's not far from here, so.
And you can almost commute, can't you?
Yes.
Come home every weekend. Audience, we'll continue to talk with Tia Brandon as we talk about the joys of dance, and she's a dancer and a singer. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot about her in the near future. We're going to be seeing a lot about her in the near future, about the many things that she's doing and her talent in the Charlotte area. Now, you do things in the church, too. Do you sing in the church choir?
Yes, I sing in the church choir, and I used to dance with my church. I don't anymore, but it was something that I enjoyed, and I'm very involved in the youth program at my church. My youth minister has us doing missionary work and volunteer work for people in the community and even outside the community in different states, and I enjoy that very much too.
And so when you sing in the choir, do you sing solos in the choir too?
Sometimes we do very spur-of-the-moment things at church, especially in our youth service. So sometimes I have to sing a solo, and sometimes I'm just back up with the choir.
So you're in two choirs, or you're in more than two choirs? You're in your Charlotte Children's Choir, you're in the church choir, and the school choir. You're in three choirs.
Yes.
So you have to rehearse for all three of them. Do you see sometimes how the three can fit together?
Yes. When all three choirs, we do songs about God, whether it's Latin pieces or gospel pieces. They all come together, and sometimes the rehearsals kind of feud with each other, so I have to pick which one I want to go to on a certain night, but I enjoy all three of them, and I work it out.
Because I'm sure some of your rehearsals will come the same time. It's probably some of your recitals or some of the performances will have the same time or the same date. That will cause a conflict, and so you have to decide which one you're going to do.
Yes, singing can conflict with dance, and dance can conflict with singing, and cheering can conflict with both sometimes. But I try to make the right choice, and it all seems to work out in the end.
And so sometimes you have to choose one of the other, the one that you're going to really put the most time in. Because it's hard to do like 4 different things at the same time, isn't it?
Right, it is.
And do homework at the same time.
Right.
So when you start choosing between the church choir, the school choir, and the children's choir, and you have to make a choice, which one do you mainly balance out doing the most of?
I pretty much mainly end up doing the Charlotte Children's Choir. They have given me so many opportunities to go so many different places, and that usually is the one I end up choosing because it has just opened my experiences so much. I mean, there have been things that I have seen that most people my age would never see. So I usually end up choosing the Charlotte Children's Choir.
Now, do you participate in beauty pageants? Young girls participate in beauty pageants where they win and titles. Do you do any of that? And often you have to have a talent for it?
Yes, I have. I don't do many beauty pageants, but I have done one. My cousin is an AKA, and she had me compete in the Little Miss AKA pageant, and I enjoyed that. It was my very first pageant that I'd ever done, and I danced for my talent in that competition, and I actually won the talent competition in that pageant. That was very exciting.
And often if you're in like the Teen Charlotte, the Miss Charlotte, or Miss Black America, you have to have a talent too. So what you're doing now are some of the talents that often you will showcase then. Do you think you'll in the future participate in Miss America, one of those?
I do actually. When I did that first beauty pageant, I liked the experience of it. It was very different for me because I'd never done a pageant before, but I do think that it will be a thing that I do in the future, another beauty pageant.
You ever envision being in Miss America, Miss Black America?
Yes, definitely. It's a good experience.
So those are ones that you start training for early because of your talent that you have now, some of the same things that you'll probably be doing there. Mm-hmm. Do you ever watch them and you're excited about what you see?
Oh yes, I watched the Miss America pageant every year, or the Miss Black America, as you said. I watch that every year, and it excites me, and it makes me look forward to things that I can do in the future.
Well, Tania Brandon, I want to thank you so much for being with us on Views with Joyce Waddell. I want to thank you for spending your time and for sharing your talents with this viewing audience. And audience, you too, I want to thank you for being with us on Views with Joyce Waddell. And I want you to tune in next week for another interesting program. And we will continue to bring you good programming and showcase things that are going on in the Charlotte area and bring the best that there is to you. I want to thank you also for being with us through the years, because you've been very loyal and you've been here. And for that, you are appreciated. Tune in again next week for another interesting program.